Shalom. We're gonna get straight into it. Let me make sure my camera's good. Alright, we should be good. The rest of the Kadash, we start off by giving our praise to Yahweh, by our Shimon, Yahweh Shai, by our Shimon, Kadash. We're gonna break it down straight into it. I don't think you want anything. We're gonna get straight into it. So this is Revelation chapter 4, right? Speak up a little bit so you can hear me. We did Revelation chapter 3 last week. So today is Revelation chapter 4. I'm trying to get all my shit together. But this should be an edifying camp, because Revelation chapter 4 is a deep breakdown, and I want to put a disclaimer out there pretty much as when you dealing with Revelation chapter 4 and it's talking about things that contains to the Lord, these are things that you can't 100% say this is what it is. Pretty much you kind of just got to go off the vision that was given. But you can give your opinion, just like the prophets of old did their best in giving their opinion, trying to pretty much write down what they were seeing. Even though it might have actually been something different, but that's you trying to search out the Lord. We don't have that wisdom and knowledge. We have the worldly things. So when you start dealing with the things in the spiritual world, the angels, you kind of just got to give a breakdown based on faith. This is what I believe. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. We have to do that for Revelation 4 because Revelation 4 is pretty deep like that. So I'm going to be working off both because I'm going to have my phone with Revelation chapter 4 pulled up. And then I'm going to get my precepts from right here. So let me pull it up. I'm going to read Revelation 4 off my phone so I can already have it saved. We're going to get straight into it. This ain't going to be a long camp at all because it's just a breakdown of Revelation 4, which really isn't that long. So let's get straight into it. Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. It says, after this I looked, and behold, the door was open in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. Right? So it says, after I looked, and behold, the door was open in heaven. So we read, how you doing, brother? I ain't down here doing much, just down here and teaching the Bible. I just got a traffic on the side, it's raining outside. I got time to deal with traffic, especially with red bottom and stuff like that. That's why I kind of hate being on this side. Yeah, I ain't doing too much. We just come out here read the Bible. We usually be on that side in the front reading the Bible, but it's raining today, so we over here. And we just teach the Bible pretty much. Teach that our people are the Hebrew Israelites in the Bible. Pretty much that our Lord is coming back to save us from this place. He's going to destroy this place and save us, Through all the hell we went through, our ancestors, the slaves and everything, there's a vengeance that's coming for that, right? And we got a reward that's coming, which is the kingdom of heaven. So we just got to believe in our Lord. We call our Lord by his real name, which is Yahweh, which just means that he exists. And then his son name means Yahweh Shai, means he saves, because he's coming to save us. This is our captivity, So we're supposed to be kings on the earth, but we're waiting for our Lord to come back and set us in those positions. Take down the military, take down the army, take down America, and take us back to the promised land. Our ancestors, the slaves, they was singing songs about the promised land. They were singing songs about being saved out of their captivity. So what we're doing is, just like the prophets of old, we're just coming out here on the highways and byways and prophesying to our people, telling our people that there is hope, that we're going to be in a better position, in a better place. We're in the same place we was took in slavery. Our money has the face of the same people that took us into slavery to this day. And we're in the control of the same people that took us into slavery to this day. But no different than in Egypt when we were enslaved to the Egyptians. The Lord destroyed Egypt. You had Moses, and he split the sea and everything, and led the Israelites out of Egypt. Our Lord going to do the same thing here. He's going to come here and lead us out of here and lead us back to a promised land. He's going to destroy this place the same way he destroyed Egypt. And you're starting to see it happen. You're starting to see this place flag. So that's pretty much just our message, is that we're the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And we're just waking up to follow our Lord, keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our abilities, and we're that, our Lord's going to come back. All we got to do is believe. He's going to come back and set us free. We need to be set free, you know. Because the way that the world is ran today is horrible. The world doesn't have to be ran the way that it is today. You know, you got to work 5 days a week just to make a living. That's pretty much slavery. You know, you got to pay taxes. You know, that's pretty much slavery, you know. Appreciate the talk. All right, back to Revelation chapter 4. Right? It says, after I looked and behold, the door was open in heaven. So we read in the book of John last week that that Yahweh Shai was the door. So we're gonna break it down, right? I done seen breakdowns of Revelations 4, and most people kind of skip over it. You kind of got to get in deep, man. You know, we gonna get in a little bit deep. And then in Revelations 3 that we read last week, remember it said that here, let me see if I can find it. Verse 8, it says, I know thy works. It says, behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. And that's red letter, so we know that's coming from Yahweh Shai. He said he has set before thee an open door, right? Here, let me see if I can find this. And then in the book of John, it says Yahweh Shai is the door. So we break that part down. Verse 1, right? Verse 2, it says, and immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne, right? So we know who sits on the throne is the Father, Yahweh, right? And we know Yahweh Shai sits on the throne that's on the right hand, right? Because he's the one that can come take the book out of the right hand of Yahweh, the Father, right? So, let me see. Alright, it says, verse 3, and he that sat was to look upon like jasper and a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like into emerald. So this, it speaks about this in the Bible all the time, right? So if you look up the ancient picture of a sardine, right, and a jasper stone, right, the sardine stones is going to be like a brownish color like my skin. So the Lord will be a so-called black man. You know, it speaks about it in the book of Job, I want to say 30 and 30, that he says my skin is black upon me. So the angels, the Lord, are all so-called black men. If they came back today in the human form, they will appear like black men, like my skin color. Because you got to remember, because now I did a breakdown of this, and we spoke about it last week in Genesis, that we were made in the image of the angels, right? So they look like men, and they look like so-called black men, because originally on earth, during the time of Adam, all the men were black. They were men of color until Esau came. Esau, that's why it was a big astonishment, right? Because he was pale. He didn't have the melanin, right? So all the men, we look like the angels and the Lord, right? Which look like so-called black men. But really, in reality, it's correct to say that we look like them, right? Now this is Daniel 7, verse 9. It says, I behold, till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, right? And the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Now I want you to remember that, because every time it talks about the Ancient of Days, it's talking about the throne, and then it's talking about the wheels, which we know are the chariots, right? So when we get to the part when it's talking about the beast, remember the beast, the 4 beasts, and then remember the chariots, right? Because we're going to break that down for you, right? Another precept, if you jump over to Daniel 7, right, and Daniel 10 and verse 5, right? It says, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins was girded with fine gold and upas. His body also was like beryl. How you doing, Elder? All right. It says, in his face as the appearance of lightning, and then we read about this in Revelations 1. In his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. And his voice of his words like the voice of a multitude, so polished brass. And this time it says, in his arms and his feet like into color to polished brass. It actually says likened to color. Because in Revelation 1, you know, the Christians, the Edomites, vocab Malone, they like to say that his feet were shown like brass, or it's saying that it's not the color. That's what they're saying, right? We are saying that it clearly is talking about the color of his skin, because it says the image in Revelation chapter 1. So the same thing here is talking about, now it's telling you, look, it's color. So it's talking about the image that he's seeing is like into polished brass. So polished brass is not gold. Gold is gold and polished brass is brass. Now, just like in Revelation 1, you got polished brass that was burned in the furnace. It's going to come out very, very, very dark brown. That's what it's talking about, and it's giving you the image of the Lord. Am I making it up? It says his arms and his feet, which is going to be the color, the same color as the rest of your body, likened to color to polished brass, man. There's no way around that. There's no way around that at all, right? So let's keep going. Verse 4 in Revelation 4. And round about the throne were 4 and 20 seats, and upon the seats I saw 4 and 20 elders sitting, clothed in white garment, and they had on their heads a crown of gold. So just like we said, right? With the whole, you can give your opinion on it, but when you get to talking about these things, the true answer is we're going to find out. Now, the 4 and 20 elders, can't nobody name you the 24 elders. You can't say, look, these are the 24 elders' names that's speaking about that are those men today reincarnated. So this man that be out here in this city, he's one of the 24 elders. We can't say that, you know what I mean? Those are things that's above our pay grade. Those are things that we're going to find out in the kingdom. If you ask me, I would say that it's 2 from each tribe. So you get 12 tribes, you get 2 from each tribe, but elders that's chosen to sit in those positions, you get 24, right? So I'm going to give you my breakdown, right? I'm going to give you my opinion, my breakdown, because that's what you watch the videos for. But at the same time, I'm going to put that disclaimer out. We're going to find out the truth when we get there to the kingdom of heaven. When it comes to things like this, right? This is verse 5. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God, right? So, which we know are the angels, right? So, I could give you one. It's not going to give you all the names here. I could Google the I could give you the names right here, right? So you got the Archangel Michael, right, which is spoken about. And I ain't going to be able to give you all of this. In Revelation chapter 12, right? Verse 7. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels. So you got the Archangel Michael. You got the Archangel Gabriel, which is spoken about. You got the Archangel Raphael, the Archangel Uriel, the Archangel Jophiel, the Archangel Camilla, and the Archangel Zadkiel, right? So you got the different angels, right? Which I don't believe. Here, let me see. Right, and you pretty much that's just a random Google search, and you can look up the 7 angels, but that's what it's talking about to break it down. So let's keep going, right? It says, the 7 spirits of God, right? And before the throne there was a sea of glass like into crystal. In the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind, right? So just like it says in Revelation 15, right? When the elect is saved, this is going to be like they're looking through a sea of glass, right? And they're going to be looking down on a lake of fire, and they're going to be looking down on that destruction. Let me get it for you real quick so we can break this all the way down in the spirit, right? So we know in 1 Thessalonians 4:17 that the elect is going to be saved, but you're going to have You're going to have angels, which you call shuttle ships, and UFOs is going to come down pursuant to Matthew 24, and they're going to save the elect. Then they're going to take the elect back to one gigantic ship, which is where you get 1 Thessalonians 4:17, because we're going to be united with the Lord in the heavens, where we shall ever so be with the Lord, right? So that's how you get that breakdown. You get the smaller ships coming down, Matthew 24, taking the elect, beaming the elect up, saving the elect from destruction, and taking them up to the Father's ship, where we're going to be with the Lord, right? This is Revelation 15, verse 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, them that have gotten the victory over the beast and over the image and over his mark and over the number of his name, standing on a sea of glass, having the harps of God. So the elect, they got the victory over the mark, over the beast, right? They did take the chip, they got saved, and it says in the beginning, a sea of glass mingled with fire. So it's kind of the same thing which is being spoke here in Revelation chapter 4. But I want to grab another precept. And you got to bear with me. I don't have my partner here today to help read the precept, so I got to go through and find it myself, as you see right now, off the top of the head and everything like that. So it's just a part of it, you know. Wow. Wow. Okay, this is Colossians chapter 1, right, verse 12. It says, giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us meet to be partakers in the inheritance of the saints in light, who has delivered us from the power of darkness and has translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, the elect, right? It says, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even a forgiveness of sin. Now keep this part, right? It says, who is the visible image, who is the image of the visible God, the firstborn of every creature. By him were all things created that are in heaven, that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, dominions, principalities, powers, and all things were created by him and for him. But it says he's the image of the Lord. So just like when we read in Daniel, it's speaking about Yahweh, and it's speaking about Yahweh Shai, speaking about Yahweh Shai in Revelations 1. But every time you get an image, these prophets, whether they get an image of Yahweh Shai or whether they get an image of Yahweh, it's still the same image because they look the same. They're the same image, just like we are. We're the same image of the Lord, you know. So they're one. They're like one in mind. They're on the same accord, but they're two different deities, two different entities, right? But Yahweh Shai looks just like his Father. So you see Yahweh Shai, you pretty much see the Father, because he's going to come in all the law, statutes, commandments, and all the ways of his Father. And he even looks just like his Father, right? So that's broken down. Now now I want to get back to verse 6, right? So I got a picture, right? Because now I got to give you my opinion, my belief on what this is breaking down. Just straight to the point, it's talking about in the midst of the throne and about the throne. There's 4 beasts full of eyes, right? That's what it is, right? Until we find out. Me, I believe these 4 beasts are chariots. It's 4 chariots, right? It's 4 so-called UFOs, right? And the angels are inside of these chariots, right? Now, when it says it's around the throne and in the midst of the throne, these chariots are like what the word calls shuttle ships. So you got a gigantic, the throne is a gigantic Father's ship. And then within the Father's ship, you have the throne where the Lord is. You know, if you the captain of the ship, just like if you was a pirate in the old days and you was a captain of the ship, you sitting on the throne of that ship, you're the captain pirate of that ship. And the Lord is the captain of that ship. He's the power of that ship. He sits on the throne, right? And then amongst that gigantic Father's ship, you may have Yahweh, and you may have Yahweh Shai in there on the right hand of Yahweh, and then you have these 4 angels in chariots that could go inside, just like the shuttle ships could go inside the Father's ship and port and dock, right? Then they could also fly around the Father's ship. So that's why it's saying that they were in the midst of the throne and round about the throne. They go in and out of the throne, right? Just like in Matthew 24, the angels are going to come out of the chariot, the Father's ship, right? And smaller chariots that come and find and save the elect to take them back up to the Father's ship, right? It says in 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. So I got a picture, right? So when it's saying eyes, right? Now imagine if there's an ant on the ground, right? And this is the breakdown. Revelation chapter 4 breakdown, right? Now I got a camera, right? So what's the difference between these three cameras right here and the eyes, right? So it could be lights on the chariot. So you got a UFO, you got a chariot, right? You got lights on the chariot, but at the same time, these lights that he's saying, look, they look like eyes, because he knew that it wasn't just light coming out. He knew that, what do an eye do? An eye watch. So he knew that these eyes through the spirit could watch things, could see things. That's no different than today like a camera. So like, look, if I go like this, right, and I got an ant on the ground, and I put this over the ant on the ground, right, I got a light coming from my camera, and then I got the eye, so I can see my camera through my phone while I have my light on. You see the breakdown? You see what I'm getting? So through the spirit, that's what I'm understanding. That's what I'm seeing through the spirit. These eyes, it's not literal eyes on the chariot. That's all about the chariot, right? I got another picture for you if I can find it. So it's not talking about literal eyes on a chariot. It's talking about cameras, right? And it's not too far-fetched to think, because when you think about it, who gave Esau the technology for cameras? The Lord did. So on these chariots, he's just saying, look, they're eyes. If John's seen this phone right now today, he'll say, look, there's eyes on his phone. Right? So it's the same thing during that time. He was trying to break it down to the best of his understanding of what he's seeing. If you lived during that time and you had the wisdom and knowledge during that time when John was alive, and you seen something like that, you would say, look, it was a beast. You wouldn't say that it was a chariot. You wouldn't say that it's a UFO. You would say, look, it was something like a beast, right? Because they believe in flying dragons and stuff like that, and beasts, because that's what you seen during that time. You seen big birds and things like that. Those were the things that was flying. So you would say, okay, it's a beast with eyes on the wings and on the body. But in reality, through faith and belief, I believe it's actually cameras with lights on them. Now I got this picture, right? So this is in my house, right? So when you look up to the ceiling of my house, this is a light that's coming outside of the ceiling. It's damn near flush with the ceiling, but it's a light, right? So they make these on houses, right? So this is no different. If you had the chariot, the underside of it, you would have these little sections, right, that may be flush, and it would have a light, but not just a light, but it would have a camera, right? So they could see all around them with these cameras, right, that also could beam out a light just like the camera on your phone. Now tell me that ain't smooth, right? Through the spirit, right? That was delivered to me through the spirit when I was going over this lesson, right? So just like your car, right? Just like your car, because we call it chariots, which means wheeled vehicles. So just like your actual vehicle, your car, you got some cars got cameras all around them, and these cameras could actually beam out light if it's dark, so you can see the surroundings around you. But these cameras, if you go up to them and look at them, they look like lights. I mean, they look like eyes. And actually, a camera works just like an eye. I got my eye, I can see out of it. Just like a camera. A camera, you can see out of it, and it could even take pictures and videos and document things and store it, right? So it's, yeah, man, I hate being over here because of the traffic. It's crazy. But it's no different than your camera phone where you can store into storage things that's caught through your camera, just like with your eyes. You can look at something, you can store that in your memory. So that's the technology that the Lord gave them. It's just like eyes. The camera works just like eyes. So back in Revelation 4, right? When it's saying verse 6, right? And it says, were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. So the 4 beasts full of eyes, it's not some shit that if you go look that up online, they got an image of a squid and squid arms going around and with eyes on it. These people are carnal, man. It's talking about a UFO, right? What the world calls UFO, a chariot, right? And around the chariot, he's seen lights and cameras all in one around the chariot, man. And you could actually see something similar to that on this document show called Project Blue Book. It's called Project Blue Book, and they show different encounters of UFOs. And it's one of them where a man, I think he got stuck in his car, and when the chariot came around, everything got electrified. But when they seen the chariot, they seen the bottom of it, right? And it was like a V-like chariot, and underneath it, it had a whole bunch of eyes underneath it. So you can actually see that if you go watch something like that, right? Verse 7, it says, and the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. I believe these are talking about characteristics of the chariots. Through the Spirit, he was getting different characteristics. Not that it was actual lion flying amongst the throne. He's giving you the characteristics of each of them. Just like the dragon isn't an actual dragon. What we just read in Revelation chapter 12. It's talking about the armies of the earth, the kings and the armies of the earth. It's not an actual dragon, but it's giving them a characteristic of a dragon, right? Just like the beast isn't an actual beast. The beast system, the beast isn't an actual beast. It's just giving you the characteristics of it, right? Just like Mystery Babylon isn't an actual woman, you know, but it's just giving you the characteristics of it. So it's the same thing with these chariots. It's saying, look, it had the characteristics of a lion, a characteristic of a calf, a characteristic of a flying eagle, because they fly like birds flying, right? The Bible says like birds flying, right? And then you had the third beast, which was like a face of a man, and we already told you, because man was made in the image of the Lord and the angels. So he was able to get a glimpse of what was actually inside of these chariots, which was like a face of a man, because the angels are in them, which men look like the angels, or the angels look like the man, you can say. Now let me give you a precept on that to kind of break that down. And I'm going to say that this is similar because it has a difference in wings, right? So, it's a lot. Let me get that. So right here it says, the four beasts which had 6 wings. So we also read about this account in Ezekiel chapter 1. This is a great breakdown, man. This is a great breakdown. This is Ezekiel chapter 1, right? Let me see where I want it. Right, Ezekiel 1, and then I'm going to get straight to the point. Verse 4, right? It says, I looked and behold, right, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and the brightness was about it, and out of the mist thereof, as the color of amber, and out of the mist of the fire, right? So he looked and behold, a whirlwind came. So we understand reading in 2 Kings chapter 2, right? Elijah was taken up by a whirlwind. We all use that and know through the faith and the spirit that he got taken up by a so-called UFO, a chariot, right? So now when it says a whirlwind here, you know that it's talking about a gigantic UFO. But it says out of the north, a great cloud. So this wasn't just a smaller chariot. It wasn't a showship chariot. This was the gigantic chariot. This was the fathership chariot. It was a great cloud, not just a regular cloud, regular chariot. It was a great one. This is the same one that's being spoken about in 2nd Esdras chapter 13, the great mountain that Ezra seen the Lord coming down in, right? The man was on top of it. The man was in it, right? Now it says, so let me paint this picture for you, all right? So now we got the gigantic fathership. It's not a mothership, it's a fathership. The Lord is a masculine spirit. So we got this gigantic fathership, right? Over the earth, right? But this fathership is probably as big or even bigger than the earth, right? So it's not going to land on the earth. Just like in the movie Independence Day. It's going to hover above the earth, just like you see in the movie Independence Day. Now, all this is my belief. I gave you this disclaimer earlier, right? So you got to take that for what it is, right? So now this gigantic ship, just like in the movie Independence Day, it's going to be a gigantic fathership. This ship don't land on Earth. It's going to hover above the Earth, and it's going to be bigger than the Earth, or very, very, very big, right? Now it says, and the fire enfolding itself, and the brightness was about it, and out of the mist thereof as the color of amber, and out of the mist of the fire. It says, also out of the mist thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. So here you go, you got the 4 beasts, and then you got 4 living creatures again, right? It says, and it was the appearance they had the likeness of a man. Why did they have the likeness of a man? Because the angels look like men. Men look like the angels, very similar, and the angels are inside of these chariots. They operate inside of these chariots. The UFOs that you're seeing flying around, the entities that are operating those UFOs, that are controlling those UFOs, are angels, not aliens, but angels, right? So that goes right along with Revelation chapter 4. It says that everyone had 4 faces and everyone had 4 wings. So now we get more details of what Revelation 4 is saying. So this is how you break down the Bible, precept upon precept, a little bit here, a little bit there, to get the full understanding, the full picture. So now it's saying everyone had 4 faces and everyone had 4 wings, right? So now let's break it down. And their feet were straight like feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of calf foots, and they sparkled like color of burnished brass, right? Why? Because these chariots are shuttle, what we call today shuttle chariots, meaning they're smaller chariots that come from the gigantic chariot. So when you put this in Revelation 4, right, you got the gigantic fathership, and then you got the 4 beasts that was in the midst of the throne. The fathership in the great cloud is the same thing as the throne in Revelation chapter 4. Now the 4 beasts here and the 4 beasts there are same or similar. I say same or similar because this one says a different number of wings. This one says 4 wings. In Revelation 4 it says 6 wings, right? Either way, you know, they just write down what they see, right? So these ones go in the midst of the chariot, of the throne, and round about the throne, right? Now it says, verse 7, when it's talking about the feet being straight, the difference between these chariots actually could come down to earth and they actually could land on earth. Just like Ezekiel he's seen a chariot come down and actually land on earth. So these have the feet, they have the landing gear to actually come down and land on earth, because these chariots are going to be tasked by the angels to come down and save the elect and take the elect back up to the great cloud, take the elect back up to the throne to deal with the Lord, to the gigantic UFO or chariot, right? Now it says, verse 8, and they had the hands of a man under the wings on their 4 sides. Why? Because the angels are operating them. It says, and the 4 had their faces in their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went everyone one straight forward. And what do the world say today, right, about the chariots? They say, when they see the chariots, they say they just turn on a drop of a dime. They don't have to turn like a plane. They don't have to turn around like a jet. They can just go one direction, and a split second they can go the next direction, and another second they can go up, forward, left, and right? So it's breaking it down to understanding, like, look, man, when they turn not when they went, meaning they don't have to, like a plane, go in a direction when they turn to that direction when they want to go. They can just turn and go either way, back, forward, left, right, up and down, either way. They don't have to turn and make a curve to do it, like Esau's technology. Esau don't have the technology to do what the chariots could do. That's how we know this is talking about the chariots and UFO, because when you look in the world, they say that, right? You look on the news, they say, man, it just turned a right-hand corner turn just at a drop of the dime, and it didn't have to turn around. It just zipped from this place, zip from that place, appear from here, reappear from there. That's what they say, right? And it's saying the same thing right here in the Bible. The wings were joined one together. They turned not when they went every one straight forward, right? As for the likeness of their faces, and the 4 had the faces of a man, right? Because the angels, in the face of a lion, not saying that the actual face was a lion, but now it's talking about the characteristics, right? He's seen a man in it, so that's one characteristic. You can see man in them, but it's really angels. And then it was fierce like a lion, you know, on the right side. And they had the face of an ox on the left side, you know, the power, right? But in Revelation chapter 4, it says like a calf, which is no different than an ox. So this is how you know that Ezekiel chapter 1 is talking about the same thing as Revelation chapter 4. It says a lion, it says a man, it says an ox here, but it says a calf there, same thing. And they 4 also had the face of an eagle. But then it says an eagle there, and it says an eagle here. This is talking about the same exact thing. So Ezekiel 1 is giving you more understanding of what Revelation 4 is talking about. It said a great cloud, which we know are the chariots. So that's how you break that down, man. It says, thus were the faces and the wings were stretched up forward. How you doing, Elder? Two wings on every one were joined one to another, and two covered their bodies, and they went everyone straight forward. Whether the spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. What's up? You got ask a question or something?
I know about the 12 tribes.
Yeah.
And then we gotta learn about where we come from. That's when we get the what is it called? The tribes of not just
12 tribes, yeah. Oh, okay, so you know about that we're the Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
In the Bible. Okay, that's a great thing.
What is it called? When KRS gonna tell you, you gotta learn about the aliens and stuff where we come from.
The angels.
The angels.
Yeah, they call them aliens. I was just speaking on it. They call them aliens, but they're really the angels. The angels, and it speaks about it in the Bible, and it speaks about it like, I can give you one, and you pretty much say that, look, this is clearly talking about, the world calls them UFOs.
Yeah, that's what we call them.
But it's not, that's just mean unidentified flying objects. They can't identify them. But through the Bible, we can identify them. The Bible calls them chariots. Sometimes they call them a cloud. Like, look, this is Zechariah 5, verse 1. It says, I then turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roe. So during the time of Zechariah, there was no planes, there was no helicopters. So he said he's seen a flying roe, he's seen something flying. Today, we would call that a UFO.
Right.
If it ain't a plane, a jet, or some type of missile, and during his time, none of those things was created, but he's seen something flying in the sky, they would say, look, that's a UFO. We can't identify what it is, right? He says, and he said it to me, what seest thou? So he even saying, this is in the Bible. He's saying, look, I've seen a flying roe, which the world calls UFO. I answer, I see a flying roe. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. So he even given the measurement. Yeah. It says, then said he unto me, right? And the he that he's talking to actually came from this flying roe. So the he that is talking to him, that's giving him the understanding of what this flying roe is an angel, right? But the world would say it's an alien. But they're telling you it's an alien because when the Lord comes back to go to war with the armies of the earth, they're going to fight against the Lord. But they're going to try to deceive me, you, and the people of the world to say it's aliens invading the earth. But in reality, it's the Lord invading the earth because he's coming back to take his throne. He's coming back to take his world. So they're going to try to put it out there to get people to join the army to fight against the Lord and the angels in the heavens. Because just recently the movie Independence Day with Will Smith, that comes from the Bible. Yeah. So that's what they're trying to put out there. Look, it's going to be an alien invasion, and then man's going to have to defend the world against the aliens that's so bad, when in reality it's the angels and the Lord coming back to take the earth. Yeah. And they're going to come back and save his people, the elect, the children of Israel.
I know, I've been reading.
Hey, that's great, man.
Hey, but the signs, I'm looking at the signs too.
It's the times. It's coming.
That's why I looked at it, I recognize that.
Yeah. Hey, Shalom. Hey, that's great, man. That's great, because that's the spirit, because that's what I was just teaching. That's great because that's the spirit, that's what I was just teaching. The brother already knew. So that means, that's my first time ever meeting the brother. That means all the brothers doing the videos, putting the videos up, your work is not going in vain. Because here we is in a little small Springfield, and brothers already know. And we have that a lot, and we play our part to continue to edify. Verse 12, it says, and they went everyone straight forward, whether the spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. And we already broke that down, man. They don't have to turn when they go. They just go on a dime. They don't have to turn like a plane and a jet. Verse 13, as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and of their appearance of lamps that powered. And it went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of the lightning. So when you take the angels together with the chariots, you put the angels in the chariots, it's called that whole thing a living creature. That's what Ezekiel is saying, that's what John said. But the breakdown is, it's a chariot, like the brother, even he knew, right? The elder, even he knew it just came up. It it's a UFO, a chariot, and inside of it is the angel, and the chariot's got different characteristics, and it's talking about 4 main chariots that go in and out of the fathership and all around about the fathership. Just like what you would call a shuttle ship. That's the breakdown of Revelations 4, and that's really the breakdown of Revelations 1 too. Right? Let's keep going. Verse 8, and the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings. Now here in Ezekiel 1, we know it's talking about the same thing because it talks about the ox, it talks about the face of a man, the face of a lion, and the face of an eagle. But the difference is here it said 4 wings. It keeps saying 4 wings, right? And then the difference here, it says 6 wings. Not a big difference. John had a vision, he seen 6 wings. Ezekiel had a vision, he seen 4 wings. Come on, man. Right? We're going to find out the truth in the Bible. And I'm going to get to that. Right? It says, and they were full of eyes. It had 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within. We already told you. If you got the 6 wings, you know, you got the chariots, you got the wings that's around it, right? So you got the shuttle, you got a saucer, you may even have a triangle shaped chariot, you got different shaped chariots, right? And then amongst the wings of the chariots, even though they don't have to turn like a plane, you know, they got different shapes. And amongst those shapes of the chariot, right, you got what it's saying is the 4 beasts and had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within. You have the eyes on each of the wings, which is no different than saying you got the cameras with the lights that include the light, right? All around about the wings. That's why they go to and fro, and they are the eyes of the Lord. They don't have to go to and fro and look out the chariot, X-ray vision to see what you're doing. The chariots have cameras on them, no different than satellites. No difference than Esau satellite. You could go pick up a satellite image of this location right now, and all the way from a satellite that's in space, it'll give you the image of this location right here. Same thing with the chariots, man. That's where Esau gets the idea of the technology. So it's no difference with the chariots, right? The chariot can fly above, and the cameras that's all around about and on the chariot, right, would pick up the image all the way from the heavens, and then would store that image so they could get the, you know, to and fro the eyes of the Lord, get the information on what's going on. That's the breakdown of that. Makes perfect sense, goes together perfect sense, man. This is let me jump back to the beginning. Let's keep going. They rested not day and night, saying, Holy, holy, Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. Right? Because they rest not. They are the eyes of the Lord. They go to and fro. They rest not day or night, except for the Sabbath day, right? Saying, Holy, holy, Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. Why? Because the angels, or the Lord is in control of the angels. The angels are in subjection to the Lord. So they rest not. They do the biddings of the Lord. They're the messengers of the Lord, right? It says, and when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, just like we do. We are in subjection to the Lord, right? It says, and the 24 elders fell down before him that sat on the throne and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are all and were created. And we already read that in Colossians 1, where it says all things was created by him, Yahweh Shai. Now this is Job chapter 38, right? Because I put that disclaimer out there, right? I put that disclaimer out there. These things of the Lord, you can get just like John did, just like Ezekiel did, right? You give your best to your wisdom and knowledge of this time. You give your best understanding on it, right? And you break that down, just like I just did now. Because a lot of people like to get on our elders and apostles and say, look, y'all was wrong here. Y'all was wrong there. Y'all can't be this. That's not true, man. They are given, through the wisdom and knowledge of this time today, they're giving their best understanding of the scriptures through the Spirit. That's the same thing I did now. Now,
we gonna find out the actual reality of the beast, and we actually gonna see these things. But this is the breakdown through the wisdom and knowledge today, right? Now this is Job 38 verse 1 to kind of break that down more. Verse 1, then the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind and said, just like Ezekiel 1 said, a whirlwind. So we know what? It's talking about the chariots. See, people don't understand that it's so many precepts on the chariots. Just like Job 38:1, it's a chariot precept. Right? So people don't understand that it's so many chariots, there's so many precepts on the chariots, right? UFOs is all throughout the Bible. The so-called UFOs is a big part of the Bible. If you don't believe in so-called UFOs and chariots, then you're missing out on huge chunks of the Bible, and 9 times out of 10 you ain't got the truth. The chariots is all throughout the Bible. Every time you see the angels come in the clouds and they giving a message to one of these prophets, there's always a UFO involved, a chariot. They're a very, very big part of the Bible. That's why they have always been talked about throughout history, the UFOs. It says, who is this that darketh counsel by the words without knowledge? Girdle up now thy loins like a man, and I will demand thee, and answer thou me. So he's going to ask Job, right, some things, right, that he can't even really answer, because these things are bigger than man, right? It says, where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? We can give you our best knowledge and wisdom of today of the foundations of earth. You know, our best understanding going back to Genesis chapter 1. But look, the Lord saying, where was thou when I laid the foundation of earth? And this really is a question of all Israel. You know, the book of Job, really. It says, declare it if thou hast understanding. You really can't, but you can give your best opinion on it through the wisdom and knowledge and through faith. It says, who has laid the measures thereof if thou knowest? Who has stretched the line upon it? You can't give the true measurements of the earth. Esau can't either. He gives you estimates or theories, right? But only the Lord can actually give you the true measurements, right? It says, whereupon the foundations thereof fastened, and who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning star was sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy, right? So if I can't give you the true measurements of earth, right, and you can't give the true measurements of earth, if I say, look, I believe through the faith of spirit, this is the true measurements of earth, you can't say I'm wrong, because you can't give the true measurements of earth. So just like through the faith and through the spirit, me breaking down Revelations before, with the chariots, a gigantic father ship, and then the smaller ships, breaking down Revelations 4 in that way, you can't really say what those are. So then you can't really say if a person is wrong by saying what those are. That's just the understanding, man. It says, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy, or who shut up the sea with the doors when it brake forth as it had issue out of the womb? When I made the cloud and the garment thereof and thick darkness of sweating man for it, and break up it for my decreed place, and set the bars and the doors, and set here too shall thou come, but no farther, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since the day, and caused the day spring to know his place, that it may take hold of the end of the earth, that the wicked may be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay and sealed, and they stand as a garment, right? So it's just breaking down verse 17. Had the gates of death been opened into thee? Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Right? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare it if thou knowest it all, right? And it's the same thing, it's still the same thing today, right? Declare it. If you know the breadth of the earth, declare it, right? And it goes on to talk about the snow, the water, the rain, the storage system, right? Verse 35, can thou send lightnings that they may go and say unto thee, here we are? Can you control the lightnings of the earth right now? If you can't do it right now. Control the lightnings of the earth. Can you do that? No, but the Lord can. Who has put wisdom in the inward parts, and who has given understanding to the heart? The Lord. The Lord gives wisdom and knowledge to the heart. So a brother may have a vision, a brother may give a vision, an understanding, and the Lord may give him that wisdom. Can you say that he's wrong if he say, look, I got this through the Spirit of the Lord? Can you say that he's wrong? You can't say that he's wrong. The only way that you can say, if a brother gets a breakdown, say, I got this through the Spirit, the only way that you can say he's wrong is if you could prove it with the scriptures, or if you're saying that you could declare these things, because you know it. You have to know these things to be able to declare these things to say if a brother's wrong, right? So if you can't declare these things, which no man can, then how can you say if the Lord gave that wisdom or knowledge to that brother to break that certain thing down? And that's just pretty much the understanding. And we close out Revelation chapter 4, verse 11. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things for thy pleasure. They are and were created, you know, and that's the breakdown of Revelation 4. Hopefully it was edifying. I broke it all down, and you know, it's a lot of sound because we is out here by the highway today, but that's just the Spirit of the Lord. Hopefully you can still hear in between the breakdown of Revelation 4, because it's a very strong breakdown. With that, I'm going to say, salvation to the elect, about praise to the